right. Hello, everybody. We're just again making sure that we are actually live before we say a bunch of things. They don't get recorded. You don't get to see them, and then we wasted valuable time. Oh yeah, Danon's hearing it. This is good. This is very good. Let me go onto our page though, because I'm going to handle comments while Mark does his thing. Okay, good. Perfect. Again, we're not going to wait for everyone to hop on. We're going to dive right in. Intros, right? That's really important. Yes. My name is Curtis Johnson. I am the president of Managed by Stats, and this is Mark Jepson, COO, Chief Operations Officer.
Yep.
That's right. We have been doing these weekly now for a couple weeks. This is our third, I believe it is. And we're going to cover managing your business using dashboards and user permissions.
That's right. And so this might be a bit of a shorter one, but you definitely want to, basically, we've been seeing there's lots of requests or questions in regards to user permissions for the dashboard or for other parts of Managed by Stats. So we wanted to just cover that kind of like as a conversational type training, so that you can actually see all the different aspects of it and customize it how you like.
Perfect, yeah. And of course, as with any of our lives, the whole idea of us going live is so that if you have questions along the way, shoot us with those questions and we will handle them most of the time. Some of you guys, I don't want to handle your questions. I'm just kidding. Okay, cool, good. Without any further ado, he's going to dive right in. So we need to make sure that
and you want them to be able to see the statistics in Managed by Stats or see certain things in Managed by Stats, but not see other things. In this case, I have a VA who I want them to be able to do certain things for me inside of Managed by Stats, but I might not want to have them see the profits or certain sales stuff or make changes to certain things. So we built out.
Are you switched over to the other scene?
Do I need to unmute the other side?
No, it's not you. Switch over to the other scene so I can talk to them.
I'm on the other scene.
Oh, okay. Hi, guys. Sorry. We're handling that. So for whatever reason, when we screen share, it's not coming through with audio, so we're going to fix that really quick. Give us half a second.
Let me switch. There. Say something? Okay.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Do you see audio in the bottom where it shows levels? Okay, this should be fixed. Okay, so are they seeing screen share right now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So then you guys. Okay, perfect. Now they can hear us. Okay.
Perfect. Let's start from the beginning.
Yeah, start from the beginning of screen share.
Okay, awesome. So so basically on the dashboard or in any area of Managed by Stats, you're going to want to be able to provide access to, let's say, a VA or a partner of yours, and you'll be able to do that pretty simply inside of Managed by Stats. So what you'll do is you'll go over to Settings, and then Users, and in here you can see you have this is the primary user. This is me. And then this is my VA. She has some custom settings. But over here, I can just add a new user. You have no limits on how many you can add. So if you have multiple VAs, maybe one person handling PPC, another person handling your listings, or whatever it is, maybe someone for inventory, you can add them in. So you just click on add a new user, give them a name. So I'm just going to do something simple here. And then you can assign a role. So in this case, you can give them an administrator role, which would give them all the same rights that you had. A viewer, that's basically someone who can view all the different areas of your Managed by Stats account, but they can't make any changes. And then a user is someone who will be able to actually make changes in those areas that you assign. So when you first assign it, if I clicked user here and sent this off to the person, then they would get access to everything, and you'd see them pop up in here, and you'd be able to customize what they can see. So this is a fake email, so I'm just going to cancel that. But in here, if you can see here, I just click on this little pencil icon, and this opens up all the details. So you can see here that the role is custom because they don't have access to everything. And basically, we just broke it apart by section of Managed by Stats, so you can give them access to certain areas. So in this case, I'm giving my VA access to the dashboard, but only to look at the sales stats and restock alerts, not my payouts, my total payouts. I'm giving them access to this one area in the profits section, adding in additional expenses. Catapult, so this is the Catapult features, the Finder, Keyword Scout. So if they need to do keyword research or product research and this kind of stuff, they can go in there and do that research, make changes. Advertising, you can see just every section. I can customize what they can see, and there's certain areas like this. So on the brands, I can give them access to the brands, but not give them access to edit those brands. So where there's a large portion of editing that can be done, we also give you an option to enable or disable the ability of them being able to edit, and in that case, they can just view those things. So as you can see, it kind of goes down all the different sections here, and that's pretty simple. So as it applies to the dashboard, there's a couple other features that tie into that. So let's say you give them access to the dashboard, and now they can see everything. Let's say on the sales statistics here, so I'll just give you a visual of that. Open up a new tab here. So on the sales stats, wait for it to pull up here. You can see there's gross sales, profit, orders and units, ROI, margin, promo refund, sales tax, and whatnot. So let's say I didn't want the person to be able to see how much profit I'm making here for whatever reason. You can go in here and hide the profit on those dashlets. So now they can still view the sales, they can see what sales are happening, but if you wanted to hide the profits, we've had requests for that. So we've created that feature. So you can hide the profits from all those dashlets, or you can show the profits, right? So that's an additional feature right there. And then if you have multiple brands, so inside of your account, if you have multiple seller accounts or multiple brands, you can give them access to a specific seller account and then specific brands inside of that seller account. So in this case, I just have this one seller account here, and I have basically these two brands. One is the Cravina, and the other one is just unknown. So that's probably because I have a product that's not assigned to Cravina. But if you have multiple brands inside of your seller account, you can give access to specific ones or all of them, depending on what you want to do. So that's the simplicity of it. And when that user now goes to the dashboard or some other portion of some other tool inside of the Managed by Stats account, they'll only see what you've given them access to, and they'll only be able to edit what you've given them access to edit.
That's right. Good. So then, what other areas, I know you went over a couple little bits there of like how you would set this up. What are some various best practice points that people could be thinking with to kind of like, if they've got a larger team, do you have a suggestion on how they would break this up?
Yeah, I mean, so my thought process is like, usually if you have, you've gotten your brand rolling and you're getting more and more sales to the point where you can actually hire people to take on the more time-consuming stuff. I would think with, okay, you're going to hire someone, most likely you're going to hire someone as like support or, handling the customer emails or maybe doing product research on new products. I would look at it as, okay, once you've hired someone for a certain area of work, I would just think with giving them access to everything that would be pertinent to that area. So in this case, let's take Catapult, right? Product research. I want them to be able to find products, analyze the competitors, and build out potential listings that we could use for once we got the product, sourced the product and got it live. We could then have all the keyword research ready to roll, and we could create listings that are really nicely SEO'd. I would give them access to all of that, but then I would also think a little bit outside of the box on that is like, okay, once they've created that and they're doing more and more for you in regards to getting a product live or getting it operational, you might want to think with, okay, that person might want to see how it's performing. So you might want to give them access to, sales stats. If you wanted to hide the profits from them, okay, you could do that. But you give them access to things that would help them go, okay, obviously you want, if you're hiring someone, you want them to take on more and more of the workload for you, right? You want to be able to eventually kind of be hands off and have it just be rocking and rolling and have someone doing your customer support or your advertising or whatever it is for you. So I would just think with those kind of broad groupings and go, okay, give them access to that area. Let's say you have someone doing your PPC. You want them to go in here and be able to do all this stuff, see all the details, make adjustments. At the same time, it would be good for them to go, is the PPC actually being beneficial or not? They want to see the profit. They want to see the sales going up or down. So maybe giving them access to, marketing graphs in here or the sales graphs so they can actually see, okay, yeah, sales are going up from that change I made. So you kind of have to think with the other things that would be conducive to them being successful in what they're doing for you.
Yeah, that makes sense. Awesome. Okay, so then that's obviously user permissions. Would you also suggest, because I know you can set up various dashboard views, for instance. Do you use different dashboard views based on users and give them access to specific views, or how do you have that set up?
I don't, but that's a nice idea. So for this brand, I don't. Some of our other brands, we do have a lot of dashboards. So like we have a brand where it's myself, my father, and then another friend of ours. And our partner, he likes to look at things a certain way. I like to look at things a certain way.
Right.
And Philip likes to look at things a certain way. So I built out my dashboard. I built out a dashboard for myself to see, okay, what are the main things I want to look at? How do I want to look at them? That account has a ton of products, so it's I've organized it in a way that would make sense to me. I've looked at our partner's dashboard and I'm like, okay,
he's Chinese.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, what's going on? Even though he lives a couple houses down from me,
yeah, right.
It's his preference, right? So,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, enabling that for a VA or for let's say you have a business partner, let them or inform them that they can actually create a dashboard, and that way they can view the stuff that they want to view. If they're only looking at one brand, you might have your main dashboard, has some dashlets that show all brands, so you can kind of see how overall you're doing on that account. Whereas that partner might want to only look at that one brand, right, and go, okay, he wants to just look at dashlets or graphs that are pertaining to that one brand. So definitely a smart idea. You can create, sky's the limit on these, I guess, just on space wise. So you can probably create 15, 20 of these, but again, it's your preference. But one thing to also think with is that these dashboards, the main dashboard will show up on mobile as well. So when you organize these dashlets in a certain way, they're going to be shown in that sequence on your mobile device. So if you're wanting to check things on the go, think with that as well. How you structure things and what things you're showing there. You'll be able to flip through and see those results really easily on mobile.
Awesome. Well, Julie's saying, I love the custom options behind this. We definitely had a couple people laugh at us earlier when we, were showing everything and had no volume, so that was fun. But no, otherwise, do you guys have any other questions here? Definitely, we want to make sure that we, handle any confusions that you might have in dashboards or like you were going over user permissions. It's one of those features that, we kind of take for granted, but I know other, software out there doesn't really even have that kind of usability, customization on it. So those are really cool features. Let's see, we haven't been on here for too long. We could cover one other thing that would be kind of like a relevant next point if you can think of something.
In this area, let's see.
If there's something that you guys want to see, let us know really quickly before Mark picks something, and then we'll override what Mark wants to do with what you want to do.
One thing that I think would be nice to cover that probably not everyone is thinking with is the changelog.
Yeah.
Because that ties in really nicely to the dashboard. We've mentioned it a couple times in other training sessions, but I thought it would be very nice to go over that.
Yeah, let's definitely cover that. That would be good, because I don't think a lot of people even know that is even in there.
Yeah. So on every page, no matter what tab you're on and what tool you're in, at the bottom here, you have this changelog. And this is something that every analyzer, any person who's looking at data, or likes to do deep dive in data, you need to have date comparisons. So, what happened when and what resulted from that change. And so this is a very important thing that, just was asked for a lot, and we've kind of used it in other software that we have. So we said, okay, let's put it in here and actually make it a point where you can actually analyze your metrics really easily. So if we click on the changelog, you can basically see at the top here we have a date, so you can kind of pick whatever date. So if it'll automatically do today, but you can backdate it to a date that let's say you changed something last month and you forgot to make a note of it. You can pick that date and then say what you want to apply it to. So in this case, you can apply it to all products, particular seller accounts, a brand, only ASINs that are tagged with whatever tag, or a particular ASIN. So you can select that and see how you want to see how you want to view that data. And then here's where you're going to type in the change. So if you did change in your title, or you change a strategy on your PPC, or you started targeting a certain keyword, or whatever it was, you can put that change here. And then this last little option here, you can show it on the graphs or not. So let's say there's some changes that you made in your business structure, or I don't know, something that you didn't necessarily want to see on the stat graphs. You could remove, uncheck this one, and then you just click add. So what's really cool about this is when you're actually going to analyze your stats, here on the dashboard, you have, I have a couple graphs in here, and this is where the changelogs show up. So like this graph right here, I see all these green lines. So if you hover over these green lines, it shows you what that change was. So now you can see, okay, I made a change here, and then this happened, and then I made a change here, nothing really happened. Made a change here a few days later, made a change here, we had a spike in sales, and then things stopped. Interesting one is just the other day, we changed our price by $1, increased our price by $1, and immediately the next day our sales are in half. So that's kind of like, okay, you can see what you did was either good or bad. And, we made a change here, and then you saw a nice little rocket ride up here. So when viewing that, you can view it here on the dashboard, on any kind of graph that you're showing, but you can also go into this profits area and, view your marketing graphs or your sales graphs. And depending on what you assign, so let's say I assigned it to the wine product only, or the whiskey product only, it will only show if I'm viewing that particular view. Right now I'm looking at all of my products, so it's only going to show me the changes that I applied to all products.
Right.
So there you go, there's that. So if I filter down into just going after one of these products, we could see that these change logs will change. In this case, it's not changing because I don't have any separation there. But that's one thing to kind of look at. And so when you're analyzing all of your stats, you look at your dashboard, you look at your KPIs, you go, okay, something's dipping here. What's going on? You jump into either your marketing area or your sales stats, and you go, okay, what area do I need to look into? And you can dive into that specific area. You can see what changes you made, and if those are having a good effect or a bad effect on your sales.
There's another couple points to think about this. So these are all points, obviously, that he's talking about that you did. But other things that could happen that you might want to put in a changelog are changes Amazon does.
Right.
So, like, let's say Amazon, I'm looking at Dana just, because I want to see his reaction. Let's say Amazon shuts down your product. Sorry, he just flew me the bird for anyone who, everyone else but Mark and I who didn't see that. But no, like Amazon shuts down a product, or let's say that they made some change to an algorithm, or like now they're weighing external traffic heavier than they're weighing even PPC. So those kind of things, if you know that they've happened, they would be valuable things to reflect in a changelog, because let's say all of a sudden stats go up, your metrics show that something is better.
Yeah. And
if you have no way to kind of look at it and go, okay, why did that go better? You have no way of going back and, let's say for instance, you did note, okay, Amazon is heavily favoring outside traffic, and you see some spike when that happens. One thing that would be intelligent would be you go and you bolster any outside traffic you're sending to Amazon.
Yep.
These are things that you have to be smart with. The other thing, though, which you don't want to make the mistake of doing, you never want to attribute the reason for a change something that you can't change. This is kind of just more of an aside.
Yeah.
Like, it's not something that really has to do with the software of Managed by Stats, but something that we don't want you guys to do as a mistake as a business owner. Don't attribute the causation for why something changed, something that you have no control over, because then you can't
change it.
You can't change it. So yes, there might be something that did cause something like that to happen, but then you got to look at it and go, okay, what can I do to undo that I can actually control?
Right.
So that's just one little aside there. It doesn't have to just be changes that you made yourself, but changes that happened around you. Major competitor comes into the space, something like that. Those are all things that can be reflected in your changelog. So when you, a year later, are trying to look back a year prior, you now have actual information that you can view. So that's just kind of like an additional aside on the changelog. If you guys don't have any other questions, I think we've covered a couple of really cool things that if you are, just a solopreneur and you're just diving into this, just you, the changelog is going to be extremely important, as well as dashboards. The second you start adding people into your business, be they virtual assistant or actual people like business partners, like what you're talking about, these are going to be important tools, so you can really delineate, okay, who is handling this function versus this function versus this function. The biggest thing that kind of kills a business is if you don't actually delineate who is handling what functions, and this makes it, from a software perspective, very easy to do that.
Yep.
So that you have some sanity.
Absolutely. And one last point on the changelog is that we are going to be fairly soon. We'll be implementing also any change that Amazon makes to your listing. So any or any, it's mainly going to be listing, but any changes that Amazon makes, let's say a category change, or somehow they make some change to your title or your bullets or something like this. Those automatic changes, we'll be grabbing them from Amazon, so we'll have those automatically inside of your changelog as well. That's coming soon.
Very cool. Okay, so doesn't look like anyone else has any questions on this. We'll obviously throw the replay up for anyone who came in late or missed any chunk of this. So literally the second we end the live, you'll see within a couple minutes Facebook will throw it up on our fan page, as well as, I think we're streaming to YouTube as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyone who's seeing this on YouTube, you'll also see it then on our YouTube channel. Otherwise, if you think that this is something that someone else should see, make sure again to share it, like it. We're gonna keep doing these no matter what.
Question.
Oh, question. Okay, good. Julie just snuck that in right before we could end. Julie's asking, can the preferences be changed on who can view the changes made on the changelog?
That's a good question. Let's check that in here.
Yeah, it's funny because we are literally just taking Changelog out of beta. So there are still these little bits and pieces that I'm sure you guys are going to come up with, kind of like that exact point that Julie made, that we'll need to, adjust. So that if
looks like that's not enabled here, but we'll add that this week.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you, Julie. Brian is asking. This is really simple, easy question for you, Mark.
Oh boy.
Nothing for you to be concerned about. Brian is asking, what are major differences between Managed by Stats and Helium 10?
Helium 10.
The title.
We've never heard of it.
Yeah, who?
Colors. No.
So, major differences. So I think they have some tools that we don't have. We have a lot of our tools are built more towards the private label type seller, whereas Helium 10s is kind of can be used for private label, but also caters to the wholesale type people. Yeah, we kind of have a lot of very similar stuff. So we both have dashboards that show profits, sale analytics of all that kind of stuff. We both have advertising managers. We both have keyword trackers. I don't think they have a customer database. Maybe they do now, but they didn't before. Where we have basically a whole slew of tools for your customer database, and that ties into a sister company called Bullfrog Data.
Right.
So there's a lot of stuff that we do in here that a lot of other companies don't do because it's definitely a hassle. It's definitely a lot of work to get all this details and data. And keep track of it. So like your whole customer list, we have that from the beginning of time, since you started with us, and your repeat buyers, geo analytics, see where those customers are coming from, all that kind of stuff. We have a similar set of tools inside of Catapult that they have. I think they have like Frankenstein, Scribbles, and Cerebro. So we have those tools in here. Keyword Scout, Distiller, and Wordsmith. They have a Chrome extension. We have a Chrome extension. I don't know if they have a launch tracker. This is something we made specifically with Titan. They might have something like that. I don't recall if they do or not. And email autoresponder, I think they have something like that.
I know that one thing in there for the review request, Amazon's automatic review request, we automate the whole thing on that, which is one thing. I know that they have to do that. You have to go into their extension and manually run it.
And it's a batch one, so it just blankets across the whole thing.
Yeah, I would say that the thing is here, we're not like Helium 10 Managed by Stats. We're both really good tools, honestly. We're not gonna try and bash Helium 10 in any way, shape, or form. There are like small differences. I would say one thing is like as a company, our lineage definitely is in the metrics. We have had that as our major focus for quite a while. Hence why we're looking at things like a changelog, where I'm fairly certain that they don't have a changelog.
Right.
Because the thing is, like, the way we look at this is the more you know about your brands, the more you can effect the right changes to actually move your brand forward. Right. So that's definitely a thing that we have as a major focus, I would say. Other than that, guys, like, all these tools have all been around for years and years and years, and we've kind of got a very similar set of tools that we're working with. Yeah. But yeah, we're cheaper. That is one thing. Otherwise, I don't really think of anything else that's like a major difference out there. Yeah. Julie says MBS for the win. Yay! Thank you, Julie.
Love it.
I would say, Brian, I hope that's an answer to your question there. Custom database is huge, is what Brian is saying. Now that Amazon doesn't give customer emails anymore, is there still any way to get those real emails? I've heard yes and no. So it's really interesting that you asked that question. we kind of Steve over at Bullfrog Data, we've been going through gyrations with Steve on this point because Amazon went and kind of put the kibosh, I guess you could say, on customer information. There was one report in there that had that information, and Amazon made that report disappear. So for the average user out there, it is totally gone, but Steve has assured us that for the last, when did that happen? I guess that was 2 months ago?
Yeah.
About that, roughly 2 months ago,
Yeah.
that they're still able to get real emails for like yesterday's transactions for probably 95% of customers.
Yeah.
So 95% of sellers can still do it for them.
And a key point on that too is that so it still is they're still making it, it's still workable. Inside of your customer list, you actually still get when you do that service, they export that data back over to us, and you're getting the first name and the actual ship to address. So if you want to do download that and do some kind of hard mailing or whatever, you get that as well.
Yeah.
So you're getting kind of a 2-for-1 on that.
Yeah, exactly. So I put in the chat there, just reach out to support@bullfrogdata.com. Steve and his team will definitely help you kind of handle anything you still, get it while you can, honestly, on that, because I was making this analogy another time, like a couple years ago, the door was wide open. You could get all the customer data you wanted, and then they closed it a little bit more, and then, we lost a couple services out there that were getting us customer information, and they keep closing this door more and more, and like Steve and Bullfrog Data are like pulling customer information through this tiny crack that still exists somewhere that we don't even know about. But eventually Amazon will close that door, and I wouldn't wait to get that information. Just get it now while you still can. That's what I would say on that.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions from anyone? And Brian, I hope that answered your question on kind of the difference between the two. Otherwise, while I'm ending off Dana, let me know if someone shoots off, another message. So today is Thursday. Somehow, I don't know how it's Thursday already.
It's fast.
Literally Memorial Day totally
Memorial
threw me
Day.
off completely. So I hope you guys have had, a very productive and amazing week. Tomorrow we're gonna have How to Hunt a Whale again at 2:00. Otherwise, let's see.
How to hunt a whale in the Amazon.
Yeah, let's face it, we've shortened it. It's a truncated title now. Now it's How to Hunt a Whale. And for any of you environmentalists, we're not talking about literal whales. How to hunt a whale in the Amazon. So so that will be tomorrow, 2:00. Same thing, Facebook page, also on YouTube. We're kind of streaming all over the place now. Otherwise, I would say that's all we got. So for everyone, thank you very much for tuning in. If you have any other questions, shoot them here, and we'll be happy to take them up next time. All right,
Sounds good.
cool. Take care. Bye, guys.